in from Montrose. 8 New York Express lanes. Also, inbound Ike, tight. 25th Des Plaines. It's 30 in from Route 390, 18 in from Wolf. Outbound slow Harlem to Des Plaines, 17 to Wolf, 29 out to Route 390. 55 northbound slow for construction, Lorenzo to Blodgett, then heavy for an earlier crash, Weber to 355. Stevenson inbound is tight, Cicero to Kedzie, Ashland to the Ryan, 30 in from 355. Dan Ryan inbound, heavy on the skids, Stevenson to the Roosevelt conconstruction, it's 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Also, northbound Tri-State crawling from 88 to the 290, a full westbound 290 ramp slow because of a stalled semi on the right shoulder. That's traffic, I'm Jeremy Scott. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today, mostly sunny, warm, the high at 86. It'll be clear tonight, low 66. Sunny and warm for tomorrow, the high near 88. A sunny, hot day on Saturday and Sunday, the high both days at 90. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
65 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, the two featured speakers at last night's Democrat Socialist National Convention. Former President Barack Obama and a woman trying to imitate him. The first offering, the former president, he had this to say about Donald Trump, what he hoped for, and his hopes, of course, were dashed.
That Donald Trump might show some interest in taking the job seriously. That he might come to feel the weight of the office and discover some reverence for the democracy that had been placed in his care. But he never did. For close to 4 years now, he has shown no interest in putting in the work. No interest in finding common ground. No interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends.
And now pull up a seat, why don't you? And let Barack Obama tell you about his friend, his brother, Joe.
So let me tell you about my friend, Joe Biden. 12 years ago, when I began my search for a vice president, I didn't know I'd end up finding a brother.
Love you like a brother.
Joe and I come from different places, different generations, but what I quickly came to admire about Joe Biden is his resilience, born of too much struggle, his empathy, born of too much grief. Joe is a man who learned early on to treat every person he meets with respect and dignity, living by the words his parents taught him. No one's better than you, Joe, but you're better than nobody. That empathy, that decency, the belief that everybody counts, that's who Joe is.
A lot of biography telling and stylistic characterizations of the candidate. The candidates both, really. Of course, not surprising. And then it was
Kamala Harris. Her nickname is Mamala.
That's one nickname. Her nickname here is Reparation H, as far as I'm concerned. But she prefers Mamala.
No, she talked about her, how she met her husband, and now she's a stepmom, and
right. And but it was her trying to impersonate Barack Obama, I thought, for much of the speech, both in terms of the struggle, as well as the identitarian politics, which she soft-pedaled. It was there, it was clear, but it was soft-pedaled. It was much more room temperature than Kamala has shown a willingness to be, at least when she was a presidential candidate. And frankly, from some of the characterizations of her from former staff and San Francisco area media, then she's shown herself in previous iterations of her life before she was a vice presidential nominee. She concluded, though, this this was the flourish, right? So this is the close and the ask. Make your own assessment.
Let's fight with hope. Let's fight with
Where have we heard that
confidence in ourselves
Right.
and a commitment to each other.
Open change.
To the America we know is possible. The America we love. And years from now, this moment will have passed, and our children and our grandchildren will look in our eyes, and they're going to ask us, where were you when the stakes were so high? They will ask us, what was it like? And we will tell them. We will tell them not just how we felt, we will tell them what we did.
I liked it better when she was talking about fun stuff.
Family is my beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha, our Divine Nine, and my HBCU brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's Kamala.
Shout out.
The font. But,
Yes.
Back
to what she said before, though. What?
I don't
Like
know.
a lot of gobbledygook.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it's reheated Obama-isms from a decade ago. But I mean, again, she's running with somebody who plagiarizes British politicians for his speechifying. So, I mean, I guess that's par for the course. For more on all of this and how it may play in the Badger State, we're pleased to be joined by Brian Reisinger, writer and conservative operative, who served as a spokesman for Senators Lamar Alexander, as well as Ron Johnson, and Governor Scott Walker. Currently serves as president and chief operating officer of Platform Communications. Brian, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me.
So, how does what you heard this week from Clinton and Obama and Kamala and the sense that people have of Joe Biden, sort of hail fellow, well met, but maybe not the most competent guy you're ever going to run across. It seems to be where a lot of people are with Biden at this point. I mean, how does that play in the Badger State right now?
It's difficult to say fully how it's going to play because they're not here. I heard your lead in there about Barack Obama talking about the things he thinks that our president isn't interested in. Well, the Democrats have shown no interest in actually coming to Wisconsin. They talk a big game. They've helped put a spotlight on Wisconsin as the top battleground in the country after Republicans and Donald Trump won it in 2016. But they're not here. And so they're committing, and Joe Biden is committing kind of that Cardinal Clinton sin as far as Wisconsinites are concerned, and I think it's a real mistake.
It's interesting you point that out because there's like barely any mention of Wisconsin. It doesn't.
I'm supposed to be there.
Nobody. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't know where they are, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it moved to Wilmington, Delaware. That's is there anything going on at all in Milwaukee?
Not really. I know that Governor Evers was in Milwaukee yesterday when he made his remarks, but so many other, sets of remarks look like they could be from my aunt's kitchen. And it's not at all what they sold to Wisconsin. And they don't understand the lesson of 2016. It's not just about going and having an event where you activate your volunteers and you get some, fawning media attention and you raise some money. It's about that message to the voters, particularly in dairy country, and small town Wisconsin. Hey, I care about you. They're talking about it. Well, when they're not here and they haven't learned that lesson now 2 times in a row, it creates a real problem because in Wisconsin, like so many of your listeners, people don't like to listen to what people are telling them from the East and the West Coast.
What about in urban and suburban Wisconsin? You've had some problems in Milwaukee. You had that Trump supporter, a black gentleman who was murdered. I don't know if there's been any progress in that case. I mean, that was a high-profile case as part of the larger discussion of the unrest and the violence, the spike in violence across America's major cities, Milwaukee being one of them. And there's no mention of law and order at this convention 3 days in. I mean, virtually no mention. And I just wonder how that plays in urban and suburban Wisconsin.
Yeah, the Democrats are certainly making a mistake and they're overreaching. The question will be, can we break through with the facts, given the media environment, given the political environment, given all the crises that tend to overlay the ability for us to get the real facts out there. But I think you're touching on something that's really important that actually ties back to something in the piece from National Review this week that I did, which is that in Wisconsin, Republicans have found a way to activate their base, mobilize those rural voters, but also win over those swing voters in suburban areas. And we do that by talking about our values, talking about bold reforms, and people basically saying, hey, these are people who did what they said they were going to do. And law and order is one of those issues that has historically moved the Milwaukee suburbs, has moved key swing areas into our camp. So it's absolutely something that's an opportunity for conservatives if we can do it in the right way. And it's absolutely something the Democrats have completely lost sight of.
Are business owners and hotel owners, restaurant owners, aren't they upset that the DNC just completely, I mean, I know because of the pandemic, but still they were planning on that revenue and those guests to come and help out your state?
Yeah, I think people are pretty outraged. I think that most of the people who were involved in trying to get the DNC here are trying to put on a brave face and a cheerful face because they want to get the convention back in a future year. But if you were to drive down to Milwaukee and, go up and talk to a random bar owner, ask them what they think of this as they're looking at their empty bar counters, I think you'd get a very different reality.
With respect to Wisconsin, I know obviously the composition of the electorate is different in a presidential than in the midterms, 2018, but you did have a governor's race. And what's the lesson from Scott Walker's narrow loss there?
Yeah, the lesson is that there's really no room for error in Wisconsin when it comes down to our elections. When you take a look at the vote returns from 2012 to 2018, this is true. Wisconsin is actually the most evenly balanced state mathematically of any state in the country. So the polls jump around, bounce around. Everybody knows that Wisconsin's a battleground. But when you get down to the math and you look at how people actually vote from 2012 to 2018, it's the most evenly balanced state. So we went from the Walker recall, where he was able to completely upset the odds, shake up the status quo, defy the political reality. You get to 2018, where there's an incredibly difficult environment for Republicans. I mean, it was a very rough political environment. That's a natural thing, right? For a midterm year, for a party that controls all of state and federal government, there's going to be a little bit of a snapback. Some voters are just going to kind of stop and think, hey, do we want to do something a little different here? So that's a very natural thing, but it was a very potent environment. And in Wisconsin, there's no room for error in a situation like that.
Yeah, but Evers, I mean, I know, what was he, superintendent of schools or something? But he's wearing masks during Zoom conferences. And he looks, how old is he?
Yeah, the Democrats really didn't do a whole lot to win that race. I think if you put them on sodium pentothal and they were reacting to
that'd be a start.
Serum, they would have.
You had me at truth serum. Yeah. I think I know where you're going. The environment helped them over the top. But I mean, thinking about Wisconsin as a swing state again in November, and the convention next week for the Republicans. What do Trump, Pence, and team need to do? What should they be communicating to cheeseheads as well as those with a Midwestern sensibility that they need to win over again?
Yeah, they need to be able to break through with the president's record of rebuilding the economy. He did it once. He's working on doing it again, on rebuilding the military and on keeping communities are safe. Really, that American comeback. That's very much something that's worked in Wisconsin for a long time. And it does get at the issue of what happened in 2018 as well. In order to win in Wisconsin, you have to mobilize the base with issues that resonate with us conservatives, and they have to win over that swing electorate. And if we're going to do that, it has to be about the president's record, the fact that he's done what he said he was going to do, and appealing both to the people who are very strong supporters of his, and the people who are trying to decide between that and some of what the Democrats are offering. I think some of the issues that you're touching on are going to be the key to that.
What about law and order as an issue in Wisconsin, including people that are in more rural areas but are looking at what's going on in big cities like everybody is and saying, I got my issues with Trump, but I can't be on that side. I can't be for sort of lawlessness that's being tacitly supported by the Democrats.
Yeah, it's a very potent issue. I mean, look no further than this Wisconsin State Capitol, where there was a statue of Colonel Haig, who's literally an abolitionist, that was torn down. I mean, a proud tribute to anti-slavery movement, torn down by a mob. You combine that with the destruction to businesses and livelihoods, the violence against people. It is absolutely something that the rest of the state recoils against. They say Madison is, a couple of square miles surrounded by reality. And those people who live in reality are recoiling in horror at what they've been seeing. So if we can draw that picture, and we can do it without looking like we're turning away from people who are different than us, I think it's going to be a real recipe to break through with a different message.
He is Brian Reisinger, writer and conservative operative, served as a spokesman for U.S. Senators Lamar Alexander and Ron Johnson, as well as Governor Scott Walker. Currently the president and chief operating officer of Platform Communications, and you can check his whole piece on the Badger State Unite or Die, the making of the Badger State Battleground. NationalReview.com will also tweet it out. Brian, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
We're all aware of national dealers that sell gold and silver. But national dealers? It sounds so impersonal and far away. Guess what? Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is a national dealer, and they're right here in our backyard. With Fox Valley Coins close by, you won't have to relinquish your personal information and money through the mail and hope that you receive what you ordered in the next days, weeks, or months. Most of the time at Fox Valley Coins, you just walk in the store, pick out what you want, pay for it, and walk out the door. It can be that easy. And if you're interested in selling your rare collector coins or currency, Fox Valley Coins specialize in the rare ones. Buying and selling individual coins and currency, as well as all gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium in coin, bar, and scrap form. They'll even make house calls when appropriate. Fox Valley Coins is one light north of I-88 on Route 59 in Naperville. They're closed on Sundays and have been dealing with integrity since 1981. Check out foxvalleycoins.com. That's foxvalleycoins.com.
You know what? I love My Pillow, but I love the My Pillow mattress topper. Don't know which one I like more. The mattress topper has 3 exclusive layers. The My Pillow foam for support, transitional foam to help relieve pressure points, and ultra soft patented temperature regulating cover. It comes with a 10-year warranty and